I love that.
Okay. All right. So we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Happy Healthy Women Lunch Hour Live. My name is Natalie Carlito, and I am joined by the beautiful Rosanna Gentile Ignoto. I love saying your name because it allows me to use my Italian tongue. And we are talking to this lovely woman who is a business coach. She empowers women to live their best lives with their business and to plan and to make it all happen, make your dreams come true. And Rosanna has been so amazing in the Bolton branch. She is a trailblazer there. And so today we're going to talk about effective business planning and time management, which I think I'm going to speak for myself and maybe for a few other female entrepreneurs that see this as an ongoing challenge for themselves, especially when we're running multiple businesses. So I'm going to just start off, Rosanna, by letting you share. And hey, ladies, we have some women that are coming on. Thank you for being here. And so, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to type them in the chat. I'm going to log on to Facebook myself so I can see who's actually speaking. And Rosanna, if you want to go ahead and share a little bit about yourself and the work that you do, and we can just jump right in, feel free.
Awesome. So I'm Rosanna, as Natalie mentioned, and um, I constantly change how I introduce myself. I don't know if anyone else relates to that too. But what my coaching has evolved to is really about clarity. So I like to say that I'm a business clarity coach or a business transformation. And the reason why I say this is because the women that I typically work with are women who are feeling stuck and frustrated and not really sure where to go next, whether it's they don't know what idea they need to start with because they're so multi-passionate and they have so many ideas, or maybe there's a mindset piece that's holding them back, like there's confidence, a little bit of imposter syndrome. And so I help them get unstuck. And what I have found is the best way to get unstuck, to get clear, is to get clarity, because when we're not clear or when we fall off of the reason why we started in the first place, that's when we can really start spiraling. And what I see so much out there is all of the experts, and I mean, like, we're technically experts too, but there's so many people telling everyone what they need to do, what they should do. And sometimes we're listening so much to everyone else that we kind of lose track of listening to ourselves, what
Mhm.
started in the beginning and in the first place. I think there's a nice balance between both. Yes, there's a system and there are formulas for success. There's a way to network with people and set up your programs and sales and strategies. And I love doing that too. But there's a nice balance between that and doing what also feels right inside. And so what I find is a lot of women, and I work with only women, so that's why I'm saying women, but a lot of women will fall off of the clarity because they get lost in listening to everyone else. So what I like to do is move back a little bit before we move forward, because it's in the same way your schedule is an ongoing process, so is your calling, right? Like, it evolves, it changes. When I first got started, I got started off as a Zumba instructor. Like, that's not what I'm doing now. That brought me into nutrition and nutrition coaching, and then that got me into mindset. That has evolved where I am now. And even as a clarity coach, certain things are evolving. And I'm just kind of rolling with the punches, right? If I get obsessed about what I thought I was supposed to be doing, which is what I used to do, I used to do what I thought I had to do, not what I really wanted to do. And
Right.
so I gave myself permission to do what I really, really desired, start their own businesses and get clear on that. And so that's what I help you get clear on, not just your business, but yourself, right? I talked about this a little bit in the webinar that we did about listening to your intuition and asking yourself what you really and truly desire. If you're doing stuff that you're not passionate about and you don't love, it's going to fizzle out really quickly, right? Because this can be challenging. We have good days, we have highs, we have lows. It's never just that straight line upwards. And so if you're not passionate and clear about what you need to do, it's going to be really, really easy to get blocked along the way.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and so where my mind is going with what you're talking about, and I know that there's lots of people that are related to this, um, but tell me, what would you say to? I'm hearing an echo. I'm hearing feedback.
Me
Is it
too.
yeah?
I'm just on my computer here.
I don't hear it when you speak. I hear it when I speak.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I'll keep going and tell me what it is. That's so weird. But Yeah, like what I'm thinking about are the entrepreneurs that have multiple businesses, right? That might have their main business and then maybe a side hustle. So talk to me about, like, we often hear, maybe just focus on one thing, right? Like, maybe don't
Yeah.
have that shiny object syndrome. Maybe just focus on one business. But maybe true entrepreneurs, like some of them are just like, well, I need to focus on more than one thing. So that's how I thrive. So talk to me a little bit about that, and how does one manage their time when they've got maybe a practice. Like I know Renee's watching, and she has a Chinese medicine practice where she does acupuncture. But then she's also starting up a coaching side of her business. So, how do we work that? And I'm going to try and figure out this whole feedback.
Sure. So I love that question because so many of us have multiple ideas or multiple businesses. So yes, the first thing you always do is start with one thing at a time. And that's like when you're like first starting out, sure, start with one thing at a time. When you're already in it and you're managing different businesses, my personal and professional advice is ask yourself which ones you're the most passionate about. Which ones you look at which ones you love to do the most, which ones are bringing in a certain type of revenue. You have a certain monetary goal and ask yourself which one of these is going to get me there faster, if that's what it is that your focus is on. So, for example, if you're doing something like, and I'll use the example, like you said, acupuncture versus coaching. Acupuncture is trading your service, it's time. It's a time that you're serving the client and you're getting paid for that, right? She can't necessarily treat 5 people at a time. It's a one-on-one thing. So there's only so many hours in a day that you can provide that service. Whereas with coaching, you can have group programs, you can have, self-paced self programs. There's so much more of an unlimited income potential in that arena. Keeping in mind that if you're absolutely like passionate about acupuncture, you want to have that balance. And so that comes down to planning and asking yourself what your goals are in each business. So in every stream that you do have, what are your goals for each one? Are these streams of income that you want to do forever? Are any of those a stream of income that you're just doing right now to kind of get you to the next place? That's not necessarily a part of like your 5-year or 10-year goal. Getting really clear on that helps you figure out where you want to work. Because again, you want to be excited and inspired with everything that you're doing. You want to do what lights you up and fills you with joy. And of course, if you have multiple businesses, hopefully you have an assistant, a virtual assistant, or if not, working towards getting to one so that you can focus on all of the activities that you love the most. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Can you hear me a little bit better now?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Okay. Totally. I think. Oh, I'm still hearing feedback. So bad. Okay. I don't know what the deal is. Sorry, guys. But it doesn't matter. What Rosanna's saying is more important. No, but I love this, and I always feel like, in multiple business situations, like we can do multiple businesses, but it's
Yeah.
very, it's a challenge to build, like be in that building state of multiple businesses at one time, right? So I think you're right. It's all about prioritizing. It's all about getting clear, and sort of figuring out in that way, right? Okay, well, I'm in build mode in this business, so this one's just got to, like, this is a well-oiled machine now, and I'm just going to let that run while I figure this one out, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's
Cool.
getting clear as to how much energy is required in each stream as well, right? Is one service or one of your businesses going to take up a lot of your energy? Is that draining for you in comparison to other things that you're doing? And it just comes down to knowing what your goals are for each one, and then you reverse engineer from there, and being the queen of your schedule and knowing that you can focus on, I tell like one of my coaches when I was first starting and studying, like scheduling and mastering the schedule, she was like, think about high school. Like we had different periods, right? Each class wasn't like all day. It's not like you had all day to do calculus. You had it for a period, then you have a break in between periods and you go to the next subject. So maybe
Right.
you want to master your schedule by setting it up that way. Or with different businesses, maybe every Monday is specifically focused on one, and you have to batch it wherever it works for you. Like everyone's different, so there is no one solution that is perfect for everybody.
Right. Got it. I know someone's telling me to get off my phone, and I'm not on my phone. I've actually closed it. I'm sorry. I don't know what the problem is. I was just going to ask you about uh, tasks, multiple tasks, right? So many of us are solopreneurs. We are a team of one, doing our social media, doing our, I don't recommend doing your accounting, really hire someone for that. And like, just be at the place, like we're at this place sometimes where we feel like we're doing everything, we're doing all of the different components. So what would you suggest? I know that you're talking about time blocking and things like that, so maybe talk to us a little bit more about how you handle that, Rosanna.
Okay, perfect. So the number one suggestion is always to hire out help as soon as you can. If that's not an option right now, then you need to ask yourself which tasks you can get rid of first that are the most, and I said draining before, that aren't really that much fun for you. So for me, I do a lot of stuff myself too. I'm in the back end of the website and doing that kind of stuff. I write out a list of everything that I have to do. And then for me, what works is getting rid of the stuff that I don't love doing first. Because if I'm doing what I love, but in the back of my mind, I know I have something technical coming up tonight, or I have something coming down later on in the day that I don't love doing, but I need to do it. The thought of knowing that I haven't done it yet, it distracts me. It will make me actually take longer. So for me, I get rid of the stuff in the morning that I don't love doing, like, checking my emails. I love connecting with people, but I don't love, sifting through my emails or any kind of technical stuff bothers me. So I like to do that first thing in the morning, because when that's all out of the way and I've posted on social media for the day, I like to have one really valuable post a day. When that's done, now I can focus on creating stuff, on building my content, on more strategy if I need more clarity on that, having client calls. I just find that I'm personally much more clear, and I get rid of that stuff first thing in the morning. So Brian Tracy likes to say, eat the frog. So when you have the list of all the things that you're doing, get rid of the ones that you actually dislike first. Because then once that's gone, it's like, okay, I can get to the stuff that you really love. And I just find that it's just easier, and I have more joy when that stuff is out of the way.
Yeah, totally. Someone else wrote eat the frog. So I love that. I love that idea. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Rosanna, what are the other some other challenges that you see women entrepreneurs facing? Because I know you do a lot of intensives, right? So talk to me about those intensives and what usually comes up with the women that you work with.
Okay, perfect, because this actually happened just on Sunday. I had an intensive, and so what I see, which is why I wanted to talk about this topic, is when we have lots of ideas, or multi-passionate, or what you call like a visionary, it's one thing to be in that, feminine and creative space, dream and brainstorm of all the possibilities, and so amazing. But so many women that I'm working with are not filling out the activities that they need to schedule in order to make those dreams happen. So what I see the most in an intensive is, number one, mindset. There's a lot of mindset that we have to work on. And then the second thing is actually like scheduling stuff out. Sometimes I have to just sit there with you and your planner and let's block this out. Let's see what this looks like. Because it, but you have to put it all out. You have to brainstorm it out, hash it all out, and see, even what makes sense, right? Like, I believe in manifesting, but I had someone once say to me, said, I'm making $3,000 a month. I said, great. What's your goal? $40,000 a month. That's a huge jump. And she wanted to do it within 3 months. Now, is it possible? I've heard people say that it's possible. In my experience, that's very, very stressful to try to make such a big jump in such a small period of time. So just kind of having the clarity as to like what is going to be realistic and what is going to be stress-free, and actually putting it down. What I'm finding is it's not necessarily that they are people who are unorganized. It's more of a mindset piece that's helping them put it down. So, in one of my intensives, one of my clients showed up 20 minutes late, and I thought, wow, okay, she's paid a lot of money for this intensive. So we talked about that, and planning. And what came up for this particular client was not a feeling of unworthiness. Like she actually didn't, even though she invested and she did eventually show up and we did get through it, there was a piece of her that still just didn't believe she quite deserved it. And that's what was holding her back from just showing up on time and putting it all out in her schedule. So
Mm-hmm.
the reason why I love doing an intensive is we get the mindset piece tackled, and then we still have time left to now work on strategy. So I find that
Right.
that can be really helpful.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that I've said this before that I really admire about you is that you combine all of the energies in your work. You know, it's not just about the do and the tasks, and it's not just about the what we like to call the woo woo stuff, which we know is scientific, right? And it's like it's reality, but you really combine both, and I really admire you for that. I think that's great. So kudos to you. So in terms of in terms of how people work with you, so you have your intensive that, like, just describe that in terms of what it looks like, and then how else do people work with you, and where do they find more information on you, Rosanna?
Perfect. So the way that the intensives work are they're about 4 hours long. I've given people the option to either have 1 4 hour chunk of time or to break it out into 30 days where we'll have four, 1 hour calls. What I find and what I love the most, which is why I talk about it more, is the actual intensive. Because especially if we're working with mindset, which most of the work tends to be around mindset, right? You're not going to take the actions that you need to take if you don't believe you have the potential to make it happen. So what I like about working in 4 hour chunks is that we get the mindset piece out of the way. We see what's coming up, what's holding you back. We work on that, but then we still have ample time to now strategize. So what I do is I send an extensive questionnaire first because I want you to have clarity before we even get together. So I've already a ton of questions to have the client get very, very clear as to what she wants and what she expects for herself. I have time to review that because once we are together for those 4 hours, like I want it to be laser focused and I want it as possible without overwhelm. And sometimes we need a little bit of time to allow ourselves to process what some of the answers are in the questions, right? Because it's about what not business, but what you desire for yourself in your life, right? What's the point of having success in your business if your family doesn't know you? And if that's important to you, you're gonna block yourself out that way. So we work in this 4 hour period of time where at the end of it, I'm giving you your 90-day strategy, or I'm not giving it to you, I'm helping you pull it out of yourself. And we're figuring out what you need to do. And also what you need to do right now. Like sometimes there's a middle kind of phase. There's like who you want to be in the next 5 years, let's say. There's also who you need to be right now or right now that's going to help you get there later, even if it's not what you want to be doing in the long term. We also have to look at what can we do immediately to help gradually build ourselves to who we want to be. So that's what that intensive is. It's clarifying your calling. It's clarifying your ideal client. Like, who is this person? I make them answer more questions than I've ever answered in any of these exercises. Like that whole ideal client checklist. I used to be so annoyed with that because I'd be like, oh, whatever, I know who my ideal client is. But we need to revisit that because when your business is always evolving and what you're doing evolves, so does your calling and so does your ideal client. And it's important to go back to that. And what I like to say is, take out a piece of paper and I want you to write out 100 things about your ideal client, like everything. When you know them better than they know themselves, then it becomes easy to know what to do next, right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what to post about on social media. Well, when you know your client that well, you know exactly what to post about because you're so clear on what their pain points are and what their struggles are, and then you know how to connect with them. So it's clarify calling, clarify your ideal client, and clarify how you're going to make money doing it, right? You don't want to get lost in the dream, which is lovely, but then yes, now we got to get into planning mode and put that together and see what that looks like in real life.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So,
sorry, that's the main way that you can work with me. And then I do a 90-day coaching program, but usually we start with the intensive because we need all that information in order to go through with 90 days of coaching. And what 90 days includes is weekly calls, access to me in between. Because when I work with coaches and I can't talk to them in between a call, sometimes I just have like one question or like one little idea that I need their help with. And it's like, oh, I want to be able to reach them. So I do that as well. After the intensive is done, you can sign up for a longer period of time so that I don't want to say hand holding, but sometimes you need someone who's just behind the scenes and helping you with the flow of what to do next.
For sure, for sure. And you know what? Like I love both on both sides of it. When my clients are texting me and saying, you know, this is happening in my life, this is so exciting, and this is happening in my business, and this win just happened. And also me getting coached, right? Like I love texting my coach. I was just texting her this morning and saying, I have all of these things that are happening, you know, and I'm so excited, and she's sharing in my excitement. So that's why I think that's really important to have that continuous touch. So you want your clients to reach out to you and be excited about the things that are happening so you can celebrate those wins, right?
Yes, yes.
Awesome.
And sorry, you also asked where they can find me. You
Yeah.
can you can find me. Yes, I have a website, but where you really can find me is social media because that's where I'm hanging out more. And it's just my name, Rosanna Gentile on Instagram, Facebook. And you can, because I love connecting through social, the best way to get a hold of me is to just send me a direct message. I do check them, and that's the best way to connect.
Okay, so on Instagram and Facebook, or just Instagram, or just Facebook? Which one?
You can do both, Instagram or Facebook. Those are the two places that I like to hang out.
Okay, so I'll just write that there so people can see. Follow Rosanna on Instagram and Facebook. Rosanna Gentile Ignoto, they can see your name there. This has been awesome. And yeah, I think that, you know, the way that you describe what you do and your programs and the clarity around it is so amazing. So I can just see how you help other women get to that place as well. So amazing, amazing. So if anyone is struggling with that, like someone just commented, too much on my mind to do, that I shut down and do nothing. Well, you're
Yes.
the exact person that has to call Rosanna and chat with her about this. And, you know, having a chat with you doesn't necessarily mean signing up right away, right? It could just mean, let's talk about this and gain some clarity. And, you know, if you guys drive, then amazing, move forward. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. And what I'll say is this too, is sometimes people get overwhelmed with even the thought of having a call. You just want to just chat. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm totally down with that. And when I do speak to people, my goal is always to help them at least gain clarity on one issue. So regardless of whether someone signs up with me or not, I still want to offer you value so that you have an answer to something, you have clarity before you move forward.
I love it.
If I can quickly add on what that comment was that you just read, that's so important because that's what happens so much when we don't have a schedule is we spend so much time thinking about what we need to do or what we want to do next. You break it down and you just have a list. It makes it easier for the overwhelm to not come in because it's just like, okay, what's next? Okay, great, what's next? Okay, that's done. Now what's next? And
Yeah.
one exercise that can be really helpful if you're struggling is put a 15-minute timer on your cell phone, have it go off every 15 minutes and just have a piece of paper there, write out exactly what you're doing when the alarm goes off, because that's going to help you see where you drift off or where you stopped and oops, am I still doing what I was supposed to be doing during this time? That is a really, really powerful exercise.
Totally, totally. I love it. Thank you so much, Rosanna, for sharing your knowledge with us and for sharing these amazing tips. And so, yeah, guys, get in touch with Rosanna if you need some clarity, if you need some help in your business plan, touch base with her. And yeah, thank you again. So, and for those of you who are, you know, thinking I'd like to get on a live too and share my knowledge and expertise, you're welcome to also do this by joining Happy Healthy Women as a trailblazer or a branch director and stepping into leadership with us. Because as you can see, Rosanna is about to help so many more women with her knowledge and expertise, and that is available to you too. So those who are watching, get in touch with her. If you want to step in, join us. And Rosanna, I thank you so very much for taking the time
Thank
you
you.
to be with us. And we'll talk to you soon.
Yes.
Okay, bye guys. Have a good one.
Bye.